poor me. Oh, I'm just always the victim. I don't understand why all these bad things keep happening to me. I mean, I just don't understand. Today I'm going to give you some pro tips on how to identify a lying, passive-aggressive, manipulative, covert narcissist. So exciting. Well, something that covert, passive-aggressive narcissists like to do is to play the victim card. That's right. In my opinion, the people who are flashing their lights, saying, look at me, pay attention to me, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. A lot of times, this is a covert narcissist. And I personally think that covert narcissists always play the victim. The thing is that a lot of the targets never see that part of the narcissist. Wait, I messed it up. It's because a lot of targets never actually see that side of the narcissist. A lot of targets never see the narcissist play the victim card. They never see the narcissist take on that role. Therefore, a lot of targets have a hard time believing that their narcissist or their former narcissist was actually playing the victim the entire time. And it's because the narcissist is only playing the victim in front of very specific people. And that's the only reason, in my opinion, that there are some targets who say, oh, my narcissist never played the victim role. I think it's because you never saw your narcissist playing the victim role. It can be very subtle. And that's why I'm going to give you an example right now of how subtle a passive-aggressive covert narcissist can be. Okay, so a covert narcissist, you are sitting with them having lunch, and they will play this feel sorry for me victim role in a very subtle way. So when you're listening to them, you're not actually thinking that they are a victim or that you should feel sorry for them, because they use a very specific formula. What happens with the covert narcissist is they're able to pull at your heartstrings, and they're able to control your emotions in such a subtle way that you never know that it's happening. And they follow this formula. They'll sit down at lunch and they'll say something very empowering or flattering about themselves. They might say, I have been getting a lot of compliments from my coworkers about the quality of my work. So here they've started off, they've said something very positive and empowering, and you then are thinking this is a positive feeling. Well, what they do is right after they lead with this positive, they'll slip in the manipulative comment. They'll slip it in there very quickly and lightly. And their facial expression, their body language will match the comment, and it's all meant to send you this message to feel sorry for them. Right after they say, work has been fabulous, I've been getting so many compliments from my coworkers, then they'll look down and their body language will quickly change, and they'll say, I'm so broke. And then they'll say, the garden I planted last year in my backyard it just looks so beautiful, and it's really been cheering me up, and you've got to come over to my house and see these beautiful flowers that are growing. Then they're going to switch back, and they usually will look down very quickly. And this is happening very quickly. So you're taking in this contradictory information, but what's happening is that this idea of them being sad is going to solidify into our brain. And if you are a high empathy person, it's going to upset you to see this person sad or down. And so they'll look down and they'll say, oh, I dropped my phone and the screen broke, and now I just don't have enough money to buy a new phone. And then they'll look up again, and you can see what they're doing is they're setting you up to feel sorry for them. And even if they don't ask to borrow money, like right at the end of the lunch, the whole idea is to, let's say with a covert narcissist, is to get you to buy them a new phone. That's their goal. They want to manipulate you into feeling sorry for them and giving them a new phone. And so that's the setup, and that's how they do it. And it's so subtle that even if you videotaped the interaction, them doing it, and showed it to someone, most people would just say, you're nuts. That was just a normal conversation. And that's what covert narcissism is. It's covert. You don't see it happening. And really, the only way to out a covert narcissist is to observe them over an extended period of time, sometimes a year, 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes it takes 10 years to identify a covert narcissist, because that's how covert they are. And you out them because of the pattern. And let's say you've known this narcissist for 2 years, and you'll start to look back and you'll pull out a calendar and start marking down the timeline of events. And you'll notice that, it's interesting that right after these interactions, I ended up buying her a phone. And then 6 months later, I ended up paying for her meals all month. You'll notice that you are always giving, or everyone else is always giving. And it's very subtle, very subtle. And that's the only way you can out a lot of these covert narcissists, is through observation and connecting the dots and actually writing down the timeline of events. Then you'll see the pattern happening, because most manipulators and con artists, they use the same con over and over again. They use the same pattern of communication. I'm telling you a happy, fun story. Oh, now I'm telling you the sad story. Oh, now it's a happy story. Oh, it's a sad story. And they're going to weave that in and out in a very strategic and calculated way. And eventually you'll see the act. You'll know the formula that they use, the words they use. You'll know how many times they interact with you before the punchline, before you're supposed to hand over your wallet or buy them something or do something for them. So think about that. Think about someone you know and try to put together their facial expression, their body language, and the vocabulary, the patterns that they use for their con to convince people. And they have to convince you that they're a victim. If you don't see them as a victim of something, if you're not feeling sorry for them, then you're not going to give your resources away to them. You're not going to give your money or your time or your emotional energy to that person unless you feel sorry for them, especially if they're not reciprocating, especially if you're not ever getting any emotional support from them or financial support from them or favors from them, or if it's not balanced. It's like they did a small favor for you once 5 years ago. That's one way to identify a covert narcissist. Unfortunately, it takes time and observation. An overt narcissist will sit down at the lunch table and the histrionic overt, oh, my car broke down, and oh my gosh, and then my boyfriend broke up with me, and I've had the worst day ever. Oh my gosh, my life is miserable. Oh, and they cry. And that's an overt histrionic narcissist, just looking for supply. As always, stay strong and get toxic people out of your life.